Sorry, but I can
Okay.
cannot
Open card.
open for the background. Can I just like this, or should I just
Yeah, no, I think no background should be fine. Yeah, we should
okay?
be okay. Yeah.
Okay. I start now, yeah. Wait, yeah. Greetings to the honorable judges, timekeeper, and the opponent, and also my fellow friends.
Oh, yes, already touched.
The House believes that children should be taught about harsh realities in life as opposed to being instilled hope and optimism. Okay. Okay. So the status quo that I want to bring up for today debate is the the hush of the adult life, which is the they can be a culture shock in their life, in the adult life. So today's motion is about why we need to expose to the children about the facility of our life. Okay, because children nowadays are basically being exposed too much about the happiness, about the colorful, about the enjoyment of their life. This can be seen through the cartoon, through the Disney film that they see, which is each of the film are all can are all about the happiness of life,
Your
which is
answer.
about yeah.
So you said that our children is exposed to too many happiness, right?
Yeah.
Then why is our suicide rate is higher than ever?
Uh,
Touch the speaker.
so that for the next question, I will pass to my third speaker. Okay. Continue to our debate, which is um, the enjoyment that been exposed to the children. So to to avoid the effect of the culture shock that been experienced of our nowadays adult in their life, we need to expose to them about the hostility of life. This is not because we want to scare them about the reality of life, but we need to make them well prepared for them to go to the real life, which is the adult life, which is not always happy and not always um, enjoyable. But we did not ignore the enjoyment of life that needs to be exposed to the children, as they are the early human in life. They need those kind of enjoyment. But we can't also forget about the hostility of life, so that they are in the real world. They are not in their own world, which is full of enjoyment, full of happiness. So this can the reason why we show the children about the hostility of life is because in scientific research we do children are the most fastest learners of among the human, which is what they learn first is what they will remember forever. So if we taught them about the enjoyment of life and also the hostility of life that they will um, go through, they will face, so they will be concerned about this and they will be remember about the about the reality of life, that not always shining, that not always white, and not always the colorful color or the bright color, but also there are dark side, which is the difficulties, the challenges of the life. For example, we right now in for example we see the Disney movie, which is the everything that they want they get, but in real life that's not as simple as that, which is they need to work for it, they need to try their best to get what they want, and this is real life and not Disney. That's all from me. I raise my case. Thank you.
Thank you, PM, for that speech, and I call upon the Leader of Opposition to continue the debate. Hear, hear.
Can you all hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, imagine a world where our children don't is not instilled with hope and optimism. Before that, I would like to bid a very good afternoon to the judges, to the timekeeper, and the member of the opposition team and the member of the floor. As the Prime Minister, will be doing two things. I, as the opposition leader, would do two things. I will firstly rebut the point that is given by the Prime Minister of the government, and then I will provide my own argument. My second speaker, my deputy leader of opposition, are going to rebut the government and also provide an argument. And my last speaker will rebut all the points that is given by the government side. So firstly, I will be giving the stance of the opposition side. Okay, so our stance is that hope and optimism can encourage the children to work hard in pursuing their dreams. And to this motion, the opposition side um, we need to prove that hope and optimism is better in preparing the child to face their adult life. And the government failed to give their burden of proof. So are you saying that you don't need to prove anything to win this debate? Okay, so for my rebuttal, the government side that did not characterize harsh realities properly. So I will characterize it for them. So harsh reality is that when you are basically encouraging the children and telling them that you need to concede to failure and you need to like dwell in your failure, but you're saying that you don't want to scare them, but that is exactly what you're doing when you are teaching harsh realities. And um, and the government side also assume that assuming that the harsh reality is taken positively by the children. Children are young. They are fragile. They are naturally optimist, and you are instilling fear in them. And think to yourself, what is that going to do to our children? How do you need to prove how would that actually help our children to develop? So before I move to my argument, is there any POIs? No? So as you can see, they are already agreeing with me. Okay. So my argument is hope and optimism help children to develop and become the best version of themselves. So children need to try new stuff and mingle around and make mistake and learn from that mistake. Because even if they don't succeed, at least they have tried to do their best. And if they have hope and optimism, they would take it positively, as opposed to if you teach them harsh reality that the children will concede to that failure and they will not learn anything from that failure. So optimists
You are
are
being
no, thank you. So optimists are generalized sense of confidence about their future, characterized by their broad expectancy that outcome are likely positive. So when our children is high in hope, it can actually help their academic success. So when they're studying, for example, or studying for the finals or preparing for a quiz, they would be likely to be more productive because they think that what they are studying, they are preparing for that exam. They know that their result can bring something good to them. They know that their result is not pointless. They know that they are working toward an end goal. They do not concede to the fact that if they get bad result, that is because they have tried their best and you just give up before the things actually happen. So and if you have hope and optimism, the child will try new things and get involved in activity in school or social activities and stuff happening even at home. Then this will help them to gain experience, and even if they lose a competition or did not get what they anticipated in the first place. So children with hope, they would do few stuff when they fail, and they will analyze their mistake, and they will find a way to fix and counter the mistake, and they will fix the mistake. And this will ultimately lead to them becoming a better version of themselves and becoming the better person than they were the day before. So, for example, Stanley, I am sure that everyone here know who Stanley is, and when he first started, a lot of people did not like his work. If he had given up, if he had not have hope, if he didn't have any optimism, he wouldn't have continued and make more work, and we would know Marvel as the name it is today. We would know what Marvel is. And today, Marvel Cinematic Universe is one of the biggest entertainment industry in the world. And why did it become that successful? This is because he had hope. This is because he was optimistic. So I would like to reinstate our stance that hope and optimism can encourage the student to work hard in pursuing their dreams. With that, I rest my case. I thank you.
Thank you, Alo, for that speech, and I call upon DPM to continue the debate. Here.
Sorry. Sorry, I misheard that. Can you rephrase that again, Mr. Judge?
Yeah, I said the DPM can continue the debate. The Deputy
Oh, okay.
Prime
Sorry.
Minister.
I will be sharing devices with the PM. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. That's perfectly fine.
Okay. All right. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Okay. Greetings and salutations to the honorable judges, the timekeeper, the opposing side, and my fellow members. Okay, so I would like to start off by saying that the leader of opposition has stated that the first speaker mention that uh, did not mention that when stating that we believe that this house believe that children should be taught about harsh realities as opposed to being instilled hope and optimism. And he stated that the first speaker did not the first speaker stated that he doesn't want the children to be scared about harsh realities, but we at the same time we contradict our main belief where children should be taught about harsh reality. But I would like to refute that because the first speaker did say about the children should not the children must not ignore the enjoyment. ignore the enjoyment of life, but we did not forget about the harsh reality of life. Okay, so that's all about that. And so the leader of opposition has stated some arguments. One of them was about that hope allows children to actually work hard to achieve their dreams. Yes, I actually believe that is true, but imagine if the children only have hopes and dreams in their minds throughout their young life. What about when they grow and they grow up, when they start to work towards their dreams, but then they end up in a huge failure where it might cost them quite a tremendous mental distress. It might actually crumble their mental health, and this is not really a good point in letting them only believe in hopes and dreams for throughout their whole life. So I would like to, and then the other argument is that when they believe in hope and dreams, when they face some mistakes in life, they will work hard to correct the mistakes and will move on to continue achieving their dreams. But in reality, it's actually very very difficult to overcome their mistakes that they have made in life, and also to solve the after effects of having making a mistake.
Your
Like,
eyes, sir.
sorry.
Your eyes, sir.
No, sorry. Thank you. Okay, so what I was about to say is that in reality, it is really really hard overcome to overcome your mistakes and also the after effects of making a mistake just by having hopes and dreams in the children's mind. So I would like to move on to the first argument that I would like to propose is that children should be taught that only through hard work will they be able to achieve uh, something in life. Like what I meant by this is that through hard work they actually need to sacrifice a lot of what they have, their energy, their time, and also not just that, they need the support of others to help them achieve something that they really really desire for a long time. Children will always have tons of childish dreams, thinking it is easy to achieve them, and but they need to be taught and reminded that in this world, the reality is always harsh, where it's actually very very extremely difficult to achieve what they really want. They
Your eye, sir.
sorry.
Your eye.
No, thank you. Okay, so 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 parents actually need to play a role here. They from the age of 5, children will start to understand better than when they are still toddlers. So from there on, parents can start to expose them uh, to situations where it is based on reality, not based on imagination. From there, children will learn about uh, a lot about how the world works in reality compared to what they were about compared to the world that they imagine in their minds. Through here, they can actually compare between what's good, what's good and bad between both worlds that they are facing.
Your eye,
But
sir.
no, sorry, thank you. But we realize that it's still important to let the ambition grow, because if we teach them too much about harsh reality and then we tell them to forget about hopes and dreams, it is still meaningless, as they will only bring them despair. But But with hopes and dreams, we also need to teach them about harsh reality, because this is the most effective way that they can work towards their goal. As one person has said, ideals, or you could say dreams, without power or strength, you could say are considered laughable. But power without ideals are also meaningless. So that is all from me. I would like to rest my case. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DPM, for that speech. I will now call upon the Deputy Leader of Opposition to continue the debate. Here.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, okay. Right. When you was a kid, we all have these dreams that we want to achieve in our life. And so that we work hard for it. But as long as we grow, we know that there's actually things or challenges that are going to hinder us from achieving our dreams. But nevertheless, we know that there is this possibility that we are going to achieve our dreams, and that's what makes us happy. Before that, Assalamualaikum and a very good evening I bid to the honorable adjudicators, cautious timekeepers, my worthy opponents from the government side, and my loyal comrades from the opposition side. First and foremost, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebut all of the misconcluded points coming from the government side, and I will presenting one arguments coming from the opposition side to support the opposition itself. Before that, let me clarify our burden of proof. We, as opposition side, we prove that it's more benefit in preparing the child, it's more benefit in preparing the child hope, to instill hope and also to instill optimism in order to prepare them to become a better version of the future itself, which my first speaker have stated anything about dreams. My first speaker had stated about the working hard and stuff. And I'm going to be emphasizing more in it in my argument later on. Moving on to the government failed to clarify to us and failed to prove to us why by exposing this child to this harsh reality, by exposing the children who is naive, who knows nothing about the world, to the harsh reality, into becoming them to become a better version of themselves. Like what actually is the government trying to bring out? What actually government is trying to give benefits of the child of knowing what are they going by knowing about this harsh reality at such a young age. Yes, of course, they are going to prepare themselves, but they don't provide to us the actual guidelines or the actual layers of how actually they're going to prepare the children. That's number one. Number two. That's point of myself. And number two, the fact that in this life, we're going, in order to achieve success is by the way that you have to create the mistakes and overcome the mistakes itself. So basically, the government literally saying that not all people can actually overcome the mistakes, and therefore it's difficult for them to move on with the mistakes, and therefore it's better for them to know the harsh reality and not to try at all. But this is the fact that in order for you to become successful, you have to admit the mistake. You have to make mistakes to learn, and also you have to improve from that mistakes. And imagine about that, talking to a...
Your eye, please.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Isn't letting them experiencing failure a form of teaching them about the harsh realities as well?
No, we are actually, yes, we see them the harsh reality, but also we instantly hope that they are actually going to success. They're actually going to be successful in the future, but not literally inflict their imagination, but not literally inflict their hopes to become successful and let their hopes to be die off in the first place at all. And we also, on our side, we also want going to prove that this optimism is not it's the same as not work hard. Basically, what the government literally mentioned that if you are being optimism, the children will not work hard. No, that is not true. Even under our side, we believe that by having this optimism, by having this glimpse of hope, the children will work even harder, would even sacrifice more in order to achieve their dreams, in order to achieve whatever they want in their life, because they know that that the thing is actually achievable in the first place. And after that, and we have to understand this is children who is naive, the children who has not really having the real perseverance as the adult itself. Even the adult itself cannot really comprehend with this harsh reality. Even if the heart is going to give up, what are you going to imagine the children who at the young age are trying to explore the world itself? You might not even giving rooms for the children itself to explore, and you might actually making the children not to survive in the first place, because they know that the world is hard. So what's the point of them in surviving? What's the point of them in trying more in the first place at all? Which without further ado, moving on to my argument, we believe that if this world want to become a better place, it needs a determination from every people, and this determination will literally coming from the imagination of the child itself. And imagine if as a parents or the society or anybody literally inflict this imagination from the child, or basically the imagination is totally died. What will happen to the child? What will happen to the future itself? We have to consider that thing again. And we have to understand that no one is allowed to change the dream of the child. Every child have this hope. No one is allowed to change the dream of the child, because we believe that when the child have hope, any glimpse of hope, even in this harsh reality of the world, this thing will actually, the child can actually work harder. The child can actually provides improve their cognitive thinking and improve their mindset in order for them to achieve something that they want. And you have to know this harsh reality, as some, we consider the fact that some of the children did live in the harsh reality into this current world. For example, the children who are basically at war, the children who are living in poverty itself. So imagine that they know that they are living in this harsh reality. Sorry, ma'am. We know that they're living in this harsh reality, and we know that even if the government said that, okay, we told this harsh reality about the child that, oh, this war is going on and nothing, and we don't really give them the glimpse of hope. You want the child to basically just give up and okay, just live the way they are. Well, it's actually they can actually improve themselves. We are actually killing themselves we are actually killing themselves in the first place, because we make them to avoid the change. We make them to avoid something that they can change, but we just keep it off, and that's what I believe, that the government is really being mean in the first place. And by understanding that this is as we giving the glimpse of hope, we are not actually instilling that, oh, this is all fairies and rainbows, it's all fairy tales. No, it's not in the first place. The first case is that, yes, we understood, we consider the fact that this world is not fairies and rainbows. We understood that this world is not the thing that we imagine. This world is really harsh, but also we are trying to instill the hope that even if this harsh reality, that the children are able to survive, the children are able to live on their life and even improve their life for the better future by having this hope. Imagine the child has this imagination to make this world peace, or imagine, or even as a normal child, to become a world astronaut or to become a world like diplomat and such. By having, they know the reality in this world, but at the same time, they know that they have hope. They know that they can actually manage to change it, and eventually help the child to improve what they are currently doing right now, and child to strive better to achieve their dreams. With that, I've never been prodded to oppose.
Thank you, Deputy Leader of Opposition, for that speech. I now call upon the government whip to continue the debate. Here.
Okay, greetings and salutations. I bid to the honorable adjudicators, precise timekeeper, my worthy opponents, and my trustworthy members of the government team. So I, as the third minister of the government team, will be start my argument by rebutting all of the opposition's arguments, and then to summarize my team's point to further strengthen our stance that on our stance that this house believes that children should be taught about harsh realities in life as opposed to being instilled hope and optimism. Now, I would like to start by coming back to the POI from the first speaker of the opposition team. Uh, he questions that if children are having too much happiness, then why is the suicide rate so high? The fact is he never mentioned the suicide rate is among children. The suicide rate is in fact amongst adults. And in fact, this is actually a point to our stance because adults are more the suicide rate of adults are high because they are
POI
not.
ma'am.
Yes.
You said just now that the suicide rates are only among adults, which is actually untrue. It does happen to children as well. How do you explain that
Well,
children?
you haven't specified that this is among children, but our motion is centered around children for today. Thank you. And then I would also like to the second minister the second speaker the second speaker has mentioned that we are not letting them fail. Instead, we are just scaring them without letting them experience failure. Well, that is untrue because uh, as we are making sure they know of the harsh realities of the world, we are also letting them to experience failure as well, and this will actually prepare them better for the adult stage. Sorry, my laptop is about to run out of battery.
Can we get a pause on the timer? No, we can't hear you.
It's okay. I'll try to proceed with my laptop. And then, sorry for the interruption. Okay, we are not saying that we disregard hope and optimism altogether, but that by teaching the truth of the world, the harsh realities, and how the world actually works is actually essential for children who are growing up, who are still developing. Because instead of we are also letting them experience failure at the same time. Instead of just implanting in the heads of young children that life is just of course, the second member did say that they are not teaching that life is all rainbows and unicorns, but how do they actually trying to how are they specifying that they are instilling hope in the in the heads of children, because children need to understand that the world doesn't revolve around them. Children need to work hard in order to make their world revolves. And also when we are just instilling hope in them, for example, after they experience failure, they may just think that, oh, it's okay, I don't need to work hard, I just next time I'll surely do better. That is when we are just giving hope to them. When the harsh realities is no, they won't improve without increasing their effort. They wouldn't magically achieve success again. They will need to rise up from the bottom in order to achieve success. So they also need to work harder, not just by simply hoping and being optimism. And then the second speaker also said that there are some who already experiences the harsh realities. For example, in the war. Well, the question is just how many percentage of children in the world are actually being in the war right now? Sure, maybe there are some, for example, in the Middle East, but surely not most of the children. And then they said that by telling them the harsh realities, we will actually limit the imaginations of the children. No, I disagree, because it does not limit imagination. We are just giving them exposure to how the world works. They are what they are dream of, what they ambition, what they are having ambition. For example, going to the moon can still be achieved. We are not telling them, no, you can't become the astronaut. We are just telling them that it's a bit hard to become, but you can still become an astronaut, like that. And then I will then summarize my themes. I also like to emphasize on my second speaker, my second minister, that they said that uh, we needs to uh, tell them the harsh realities of the world, so that to prepare them before going to the adult stage, so that where the stark contrast between their naive childhood and their adult life will not give them culture shock. Uh, this is why when adults are experiencing culture shock, this is why the suicide rate of adults is higher, as as questioned by the first speaker of the opposition team, because they are shocked from the stark contrast. Because when they are children, they are not exposed to the harsh realities, but when they grow up, they are suddenly uh, counted with many the harsh truth or how the world works. And then they also question, how are we going to tell them the harsh realities of the world? They say that we did not specify. Well, actually, we can tell them through, for example, parents and teachers. Parents can actually tell them that, for example, one of the harsh realities of the world is that there are many different types of people in the world. So of course there will be many bad people as well. So that uh, parents or teachers or alike can teach them, oh, so there are many bad people that you need to be aware of them. So that is only one of the harsh realities. With that, I wholeheartedly supports that the house believes that uh, children should be taught about harsh realities in life as opposed to being instilled hope and optimism. With that, I raise my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Government Whip, for that speech, and I'll call upon the Opposition Whip to continue the debate. Hear, hear.
Good evening, Ambit, to all the members of the hall. I, as the opposition whip, and I'll be doing two things for today. Firstly, I will conclude all the issues that has been argued and debated upon for the first and second section of this debate. And then secondly, I will be rebutting all of the issues and prove to you how the opposition actually cater to all of these issues much better than the government side. So before I move on to any of my issues, I would like to first clarify a certain things in the case that has been misunderstood by some of the government side. So first of all, they attacked upon us about how we didn't really clarify what we mean by hope and optimism. Well, firstly, the one that was supposed to clarify about hope and optimism was the Prime Minister. But since the Prime Minister didn't really clarify what they meant by hope and optimism, they only said that hope and optimism is just a bunch of fairy tales. My opposition leader actually stood up and actually rebutted that and even gave a proper characterization for hope and optimism. It was actually about encouragement. The fact that you are going to do something, and even though you're not going to get it, you're still going to get something out of it. So this is what we mean by instilling hope and optimism into the children. So let's say if the children wants to become a singer and the parents know that becoming a singer is very, very difficult, you're not going to get a lot of money. But if they continue to encourage them, giving them hope, they're going to still pursue it. And by pursuing it, they're going to get a lot of benefits along the way, along the journey of it. So this is what we mean by giving them hope and optimism. We're not trying to say that, oh, you can definitely do this. You don't need to work hard at all. Just believe. Yeah, not everyone is going to actually think that it's going to happen. Now that's a true fairy tale, but not hope and optimism. So this is what we meant by it. So if I'm moving on to the issue, here's the stand. I'll really clarify the stance of our side, which is hope and optimism can encourage the children to work hard and pursuing their own dreams. So now let's discuss the issues of this debate. So I have concluded in all this debate into three main issues. Firstly, which side or which children can be more tolerant to failure. Number two, which children will succeed more. And number three, which children will ultimately be more happy. So I feel like at the end of the day, this motion really wants to cater to children and their own well-being and what benefits them the most. So let's first start off with the first issue, which is which children can be more tolerant to failure. So the opposition side, the government side, they have stated many times that they want to teach them the harsh reality of life so that they can avoid committing to a lot of failures they can get in the future. And we feel like this is actually pretty bad because if you're avoiding failure as a child and not doing any mistakes whatsoever, you're going to get more devastated in the long run. If you become an adult and you come across a big failure in life, that's going to be much more devastating than you being filled with hope and optimism. Also, the third speaker of the government side then suddenly said that you can show them the harsh reality of life, but we still let them do whatever they want. So if you know that you cannot become a doctor, we give them the harsh reality of life, but yet we still somehow encourage them to do so anyway. So this is actually quite contradicting because the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister never specified this whatsoever. It only came from the government whip, which I think is too late to characterize now. And also another thing is that the stance from the government side is only be stated by the government whip as well, which is also too late. And then from here, we can compare it with the opposition side, where the opposition side said that by having hope and optimism, we can encourage them in a way that they will prone to do mistakes. And when they do mistakes, it's not that the parents will be like, oh, you failed, now you cannot do all this, I cannot give you hope and optimism anymore. No, it's not that. Encouragement is throughout the whole journey. You're going to face through a lot of failures because you're taking risks, obviously. If you're trying to pursue a very hard degree or you're trying to pursue a very hard talent, you're obviously going to face a lot of mistakes. And from these mistakes, the children can actually learn from them and can actually be more tolerant to them. So this is why for the issue of which children can be tolerant to failure, I feel like the opposition wins this issue. So moving on to the second issue, which is which children will succeed more. This is something that we need to look at different angles. So first of all, when we look at the government side, they when you say that you want to inflict fear in them and tell them the harsh reality of life so that they don't commit to things that they know that they will fail. The thing is, you're going to make them risk less. You're going to make the children lack of risk and imagination. And this is actually something that not a lot of children should do actually. Children should actually take risks because at the children age, not a lot of risk is going to impact their lives as much as when they are adults. So if they are able to take risk from the start, they're going to learn from them, they're going to get experience from them, and this will ultimately make them a better person and someone who is more prepared for the future. If you don't give them imagination, if you don't let them do risk or whatsoever, then how can they actually learn from them? They're not going to learn during their adulthood because it will be too late for them. So this is why we feel like the opposition side, the government side, their own children there are not going to actually succeed better than our side, because you are inflicting a system, inflicting fear into them, which will ultimately not make them someone who will do better or innovate. They're just going to follow the flow and never follow their own heart. So the opposition side was, however, have showed to you how by having all of this hope and optimism, encouragement and whatsoever, it's going to give them a better journey. They're going to learn through everything. And for example, if you want to pursue a foundation study somewhere, and it's a foundation study on somewhere that is very difficult to get for flat, even though you're not going to get for flat, even though you might have been better off going to other universities, but the thing is that you're going to actually gain a lot of benefits by it. For example, the experience you get, the amount of friends and skill sets, or maybe your way of speaking can change. All of this can actually matter in the long run. So we feel like in the whole process, the government is actually, the opposition is actually going to pursue a way where the children can learn from the mistakes while also gaining a few skill sets along the way, which I think is impossible if you don't pursue the thing in the first place. So that's the second issue. Now, finally, the third issue is which children will be ultimately happy. So this is a short one. Basically, the government side, I already proven to you how the government side will have children that will be intolerant to failure, will be less likely to succeed because they're taking less risk. And this will ultimately make them less happy. And in the end of the day, you're actually being harsh to the child in the first place. You're telling them that, no, you cannot become this, you cannot become that. That's something detrimental to a child. Yes, you are doing it for their own benefit, but what benefit is there? You haven't proven any benefit of this harsh reality. So in government's, in opposition side, we have proven to you how these children can actually be tolerant to failure and can be more successful. And ultimately, giving someone optimism, giving someone hope is just going to make you happy. It's just going to make you smile. And children deserves that. And we feel like this system is much more better for the children and they can have a much more happier life. And with that, I end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Albert, for that speech. I now call upon Op Reply to continue the debate. Here.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. Very good afternoon, I bid to all the members of the floor. It's me again, and I'm here as side opposition to prove to you why, in this case, opposition would win and the government would lose because of the three things, or the few things, and more things actually. Number one, the government failed to prove that their burden of proof. They failed to prove to us that why having this exposing the children into the harsh reality world is going to benefit the children in the future. They failed. Not only that, they failed to approve. Not only that, they failed to prove that how come this, by exposing the child to the harsh reality, is going to make them succeed more, or is going to make them to become a better human being in the future. Well, under our side as the opposition, we prove to you that by having instilling hopes and dreams, we're actually causing the child to work harder. We're causing the child to have this some sort of imagination for them to achieve better in their life, and for them to know that even if they fail, they are actually learning something, so that basically they don't really lose everything at all. That's number one. Number two, the government itself failed actually to prove that what is this harsh characterize this understand and this characterize of this harsh reality of this world. We have to know that harsh reality, it can mean of anything. It can mean of killing the children's dream, or killing anybody's dream, or even in this harsh reality or the environment that the children live in the current world. So under our side, we prove to you that by having this harsh reality, but when we instill the hope itself, we are actually having the children to become we believe that by having this, we believe that the children will succeed more. We believe that the children will be happier, because we know that the children, eventually the children, imagine the children who is naive, who is don't know anything, but they know that if they have hope and they know that they can pursue better. Whether that on the government side, they literally kill off the children's imagination. They literally kill off the best part of being children by having this harsh reality. Not only that, number three, on the our side, we also prove that the children will be instilling hope, like encouragement and such, that even if they fail, they know that even if they have failed, they know they learn something, they know that they will achieve success one day. While on the government side, they fail to prove anything. They fail to prove that what happened to the child who actually into failure, because on the government side, they're literally focusing on avoiding the mistake that they're going to make, because they say it's going to be detrimental for them, and they're actually restricting the development of the child itself. So how come this restricted development child itself are going to save them in the future, are going to actually making them a better human being in the future? That's number two. And also, under opposition side, we prove to you that in this reality world, yes, the children needs motivation, the children needs an encouragement for them to achieve their success in the future. Because we all know that even the children, even if the adult itself is not having discouragement, even the adult who knows the harsh reality, they don't really know they don't do anything. Just basically be like, oh, what should I be? Why should I fight for it? Why should I just fight for it? I might just have lost. I will fail miserably. But under our side, we prove that by having this kind, we actually make the children to have determination, and the children can eventually change the world in the future. And we could see that in many situations, such as all this famous person like Mahatma Gandhi and such. As to our side, because of that, the government itself contradict with each other, because at the first side, under government, the first speaker stating that they are not trying to scare under the government side, they're literally contradicting each other, and basically what the stance that they're coming is coming too late for the third speaker, which is why we have to omit in that. And because of that, we prove to you that why this opposition really caters more towards children well-being. We prove to you that the children become more succeed and more determined, more tolerant and happier. With that, I've never been prouder to oppose.
Thank you, Our reply. We can proceed with Gov reply to give their speech and to subsequently end the debate here.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Greetings again to all of the members of the floor. And so right now I would like to do the reply for our on the government side. So with the limited time given, rather than explaining giving an superficial explanation for multiple arguments provided by both sides, I would like to focus on one argument from each side, or that made very strong impression on us. So the opposition side has proposed that with hope and dreams, it will motivate the children to work very hard to strive towards their goals. While on our side, the government side, we stated that through by making them experiencing harsh realities in life, by making them experiencing harsh reality in life, it will also make them challenge the harsh challenge the future challenges that they might face in life in order to actually achieve what they want in life. So the opposition side said that hopes and dreams can motivate them to uh, work harder towards their dreams. But motivation can come in many sorts of forms, like by because humans are always excited to overcome challenges, and when children believe in hopes and dreams, they do not think of challenges, and in comparison to hard work, in comparison to facing harsh realities, harsh realities can also offer them a chance to overcome a challenge, which also may serve as another form of motivation for them to work much harder and much more effective towards their goals. So the reason why our argument would stand stronger in this debate is because um, they they will have to face harsh reality either way in life. If not in the younger days, it will be during the adult life. So by letting them experience it earlier than later, they are much more prepared early for the future challenges. And when they are much prepared earlier, what I meant is that through the means of physically and mentally. And so when they are prepared extremely well in terms of their mental strength and their physical strength, they will be prepared to face any challenges, harsh challenges in life. And other than that, they will not also lose a lot when failing to overcome a challenge, like going into depression or losing whatever you have invested to overcome the challenge. Like as an example, like an interview job, someone who has experienced harsh realities before may can still move on to work harder to achieve their next goal in life, while those who believe in hopes and dreams may actually go into depression. Other than that, and they are exposed to uh, harsh situations in life, they will understand how the world works better. It will change their perspective of the world, uh, so that rather than leading an ignorant life, they will plan every single day. Okay, so that is all for me now. I would like to rest my case. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for that debate. Given that this is a silent round, which means there will be no oral adjudication, which also means you won't be receiving the results to this debate in this room. You will have to wait for break announcements, which I assume is later in the evening. So, good luck, guys, and thanks for the debate.